Mr. Speaker, sir, at the very outset, I would like to thank all the honorable members who have participated in this debate on the Governor's address. Shri Marcus N. Marak, MLA, Shri Rakham A. Sangma, MLA, Shri Hima M. Champliang, MLA, Shri P.T. Sokme, Shri S.G.E. Mominin, Shri Merrilbon CM, Shri George Lingdo, Shri Pinyad CM, Shri Rupert Momin, Shri Edelbert Nongrum, Shri Gavin Mellingap, Dr. Amperine Lingdo, Shri Lazarus Sangma, and the Leader of Opposition, Dr. Mukul Sangma. So many points have been covered in the discussion and in the debate today. And I would, at the very outset, would like to thank all the members for all their suggestions that have given, criticisms that certain people have done, and overall, I personally believe that everything that is said in this House is of great importance. And though some points came out positively, some came out negatively, I would want to take all the suggestions in a very positive manner and would like to thank each and every member for having spoken today and on the first day. Sir, I may not be able to touch on every single issue or the topic that has been mentioned because it was very exhaustive and it would take a lot of time. Therefore, before I start, I would like to mention that I have taken notes personally and my entire team has taken notes personally of all the points mentioned by each and every member. And I will try to touch upon and overall try to cover as many issues as possible. Sir, I would first of all like to start off by just touching on a few things about governance and how things have been in the past 4 years. And correctly, as was mentioned by the Leader of Opposition, that it is very important to remember that we create the policies, we prepare the schemes and programs, and we ensure that the implementation and delivery is done at the grassroots level. And he also correctly mentioned that governance and governments are an ongoing process. So therefore, it is always a good thing to remember what things have been done in the past and obviously see how we can improve it and ensure that we make it better. And I'm very happy that he used the word amplify, because that's one word I think I would like to focus on for the next 2 to 3 minutes. I'm, of course, quite saddened that he said the word amplify, but then, of course, he said that we have actually gone in the other direction. But I would like to leave it to the House to decide whether it's amplify or whether it's going down. I think few numbers will clarify the entire situation. So in the last 4 years, for a state's GDP, or in fact for a national GDP, we all know that the government spending is one of the most critical factors. In fact, sometimes the government has to increase its spending, even if it means that they have to arrange for finances in different ways to ensure that there's a boost to the economy. So government spending is a very, very important aspect. When the term of the previous government got over, in the year 2017-2018, though in the budget we give different numbers, but at the end of the day, budget is a policy document which aims to target and focus on certain areas. But the actual implementation and the actual money spent is sometimes not at the level of the budget estimates. In 2017-18, the actual expenditure that took place of government of Meghalaya was 9,800 crores. 2017-18, 9,800 crores was actually spent by the government. So I would like to inform you that in 2021-22, we expect an actual expenditure of 15,000 crores plus. Almost 15,600 crores, because we know how much we have already spent and we know how much we are going to spend. Of course, the actuals will come out when the real numbers are compiled, but the number will go up to 15,600 crores. That is a 58% jump from 2017 to 2021, from 9,800 crores today to 15,600 crores. Amplified, as been mentioned by the Honorable Leader of Opposition. Sir, when we took over at the government, in 2018, in the rural areas, there were 4,500 houses only that had tapped drinking water. 4,500 in the whole state, 1% of the total households that were there. I'm happy to inform you, sir, that today in 2021-2022, in a matter of 2 years actually, but I will say 4 years because the program started 2 years back, we have increased from 4,500 households today to 2,12,000 households. Amplified. I don't know if you want to say amplified or it's gone down. I leave it to the House to decide, sir. So in terms of roads in rural areas, in the year 2013 to 2017, there was a construction of 700 kilometers of PMGSY road. From 2018 to now 2021-22, 4 years, we have already crossed from 700 kilometers that was constructed in those 5 years, and now in 4 years, from 700, today, sir, we have already completed 1,850 kilometers, sir. Almost 2.5 times more than what was done in 5 years. Amplified. The amount spent on that, which was in 2013 to 2017, was 500 crores. In the last 4 years, to construct this PMGSY and other rural roads, we have spent over 1,300 crores to make the rural roads, sir. Again, another big example of amplifying. And in fact, in the last 1 year, this whole financial year, you'll be happy to know that we have been constructing on an average 2 kilometers of rural roads every day. Every day we're constructing 2 kilometers of rural roads, sir. So therefore, just few other points. I have a lot of points on amplification, sir, but I think it'll take too much of time if I talk about amplification. But I'll just touch on just one or two more. That even in terms of the externally aided projects, where we were at 2,300 crores in the last term, today we are doing projects worth 7,900 crores, almost 3 times the amount it was done in the last term. Where we were at 700 crores in terms of MG and REGS, today we are at 1,400 crores, 100% jump in terms of overall implementation. So these are clear examples of delivery. We have delivered as a government. We've ensured that the policies and programs that were started are being implemented and amplified. We are not giving just speeches, sir. I'm giving you facts and figures from the ground. And I have many, many such figures and facts, sir, but I would refrain from speaking about it today in detail. Maybe another occasion, I will go through this entire sheet that is there in front of me. But having said that, sir, today, we talk of transparency in the system. Talk about, that there should be positivity overall. So I want to quote one, one very, very popular quote. It's by Earl Nightingale. And it says, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." A man is what he thinks about all day long. It's very amusing to me, sir, because the Honorable LO mentioned that in MPSC, some people came to him and asked him that things can be manipulated. So let me tell you, nobody's ever come to me, because they know that it will never happen if they come to me. I don't know why they approached him. Maybe they thought that he can actually make it happen because he did it in the past. I don't know, sir. But this thought has never come in my mind. Today, the opposition speech, the LO speech is only on the negative side of things. Everything being done is always being just criticized. As I say, sir, again I repeat, a man is what he thinks about all day. Negative. So nobody ever came to me asking me that under the MPSC, please do these things, because they know it's not possible. So if you ask anybody, any of the officials or any of the MCS officers who passed this time, the most transparent process was followed. I'm not saying that it was not followed in the past or not. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm telling you, sir, the kind of transparency that we have allowed, the kind of independence that we have allowed for MPSC has never happened before. And in fact, the Honorable LO has been mentioning about the fact that the MPC members were appointed politically. He said, no, absolutely not. These were done by the recommendation of a search committee, which was constituted by the government, but it was a search committee. So therefore, that's completely incorrect that the people who were appointed were done politically. So he mentioned about the fact that we are not accepting the facts that all those different situations happened, and we are running away from the reality that there was problem during celebrations of the national holidays and important days. Sir, it was not true at all. In fact, all the important national days were celebrated, and there were no buns or no untoward incidents that took place on that day. Yes, there could have been situations that we have faced. And as he's mentioned by himself, that every government faces challenge. Every government faces law and order situation. There are people who have issues, and they express it in different ways. But let me tell you, sir, and the House through you, sir, that this government has always believed in listening to the people. This government has always believed in talking to them. Sir, there were many situations in the past where these kind of problems had happened. But the only way to find the solution to that was to shoot them, was to fire bullets at them, to take their lives. Is that what we want? But sir, by the grace of God, in the last 4 years, we have faced hundreds of situations. I can tell you, sir, that not a single drop of blood was spilled of any of our citizens. The only people who suffered maybe our police, because they restrained, because orders were given to them that yes, there's a problem. But who are these people? They are our citizens. They are our brothers and sisters. There is a problem. But violence is not the way forward. Let us talk, let us discuss. And that is how we've been able to move forward. I'm not saying we did everything perfect, sir. Absolutely not. We have had challenges. But we ensured that we protected the lives of our people. We respected the lives of our people. We listened to the voice of the people. And therefore, sir, I don't want to go into comparing of how it was done before and now. People know about it. I don't have to give details about it. But my point is, sir, that we followed a certain way of doing things, and I stand by that. And I'm proud that all my colleagues, the entire MDA government, has always believed in ensuring that we listen to the voice of the people, and we always talk to the people and try to resolve issues through dialogue. And that is why, sir, when you talk of dialogue, the border issue, which has been pending for so long, I don't want to get into details about the motion that was brought in, because we will talk about it tomorrow in the reply. But so we have done a lot of work to ensure that we are able to find a solution. Honorable LO has said, hold on, hold on. That's what he did for 8 years, sir. He held on and held on. And there was no solution for 8 years. He got a long time to hold on to it. But sir, we sometimes need to make a decision. we are being asked, or we have been put in this position to take those tough decisions. Not easy. In fact, it has been a very tough call for us. But it is through dialogue that we have managed to move things forward. And I reiterate, sir, that there will not be a perfect solution. There will not be. But if we keep the interest of our people, the interest of our state in mind, and not just simply stick to our position that this is what we want, that is the only way we can negotiate. So you talk of any people, you talk to, negotiating experts, they will tell you, negotiation can never happen if the two parties who are face to face stick to their positions. Sticking to a position is a disaster for negotiation. If you want to find a solution, think of what is your interest. What is it that means to you more? And then come to the discussion table. Not with the point of position. Some people have mentioned very dramatic statements in the past. I don't want to repeat them. But those are not the kind of languages or positions that we go with when we discuss on very critical matters like these. What is important is that can there be a solution that will be able to fulfill the interests of all the stakeholders who are there. That is the way we move forward when we discuss and have dialogue, sir. The interest should not be compromised. Positions can be changed, but the interest should not be compromised. And that's the key to finding solutions, and that is the way we have moved forward in the border issue, sir. We are, as I said, I'm repeating, sir, we are very hopeful that in the next coming days, we should be able to find, and we should be able to come to a final conclusion. And as I said, there is a whole motion on this. I will speak about this more tomorrow, sir. At the same time, so there is a small discussion that took place on the 6th schedule. And so I would like to, though it was not part of the governor's address, but I thought that this is maybe the right forum to mention this. And in that also, we had some of the leaders specifically mentioning about the fact that we will not accept the village councils. And this cannot be forced on us. Our clan will never accept it. So let me just explain the two aspects to this entire discussion that's taking place, apart from the many other discussions which hopefully have been resolved. There was an issue about the unrepresentative tribes. So we have made it very clear to Government of India that we will not accept this, and it has been given in writing. Now obviously, sir, we don't know what's going to be in the final draft of the bill, but we will continue to press with Government of India that the word unrepresentative tribe should not be there. So I don't know why the honorable member continues to stress on that one word. Maybe he thinks that if he keeps saying white is black, 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 we'll start believing that white is black. But that's not the way things go. We have to realize and see the fact of the situation, and the fact is that we have made our position clear. We have told Government of India that we will not accept the word unrepresentative tribes. Number two, sir, regarding village councils. So I would like to give a small background on what this entire working system is all about. So we have demanded and urged that Government of India should give funding through the finance commissions to the district councils also. And this word district council has not been included in the finance commission para in the constitution. Therefore, so that we can get the funding the way the Panchayati Raj gets. So there's a very big difference that we want Panchayati Raj and we want the funding that the way Panchayati Raj gets. So for political gains, I don't suggest that we should start using these words and trying to confuse the public. We as leaders need to be responsible and clarify to the people that these are two different meanings. We are not saying bring Panchayati Raj. We are saying like you're giving money to the Panchayati Raj, give it to district council. So don't try to manipulate the words out here and try to take political advantage of the situation. We have to realize that we are here to ensure that our governance improves, our traditional institutions become stronger, and that is why the 6th schedule amendment is coming in. And therefore, sir, when we talk about funding, the normal practice for government is that the panchayats have election. Therefore, it would be natural for the Government of India to say that if you would like the money that is being given to the panchayats, to the district councils and the village council, and at the village level, then have elections like the way panchayats are having elections. So therefore, an election mode of village council was proposed. In the beginning, it was said that all the people, including the chairperson, should be elected person. But it is because of the intervention of the government of Meghalaya that we insisted that there has to be a hybrid model or system. We understand that you need elections because Panchayat Raj systems have elections and they get funds. If district councils also want the funding at the village level, they need to have election. We understand that. But then you cannot bypass the traditional institutions. Therefore, you must either have the same institutions that are there, like the Dorbashnongs, or the Dorbas, to be the village councils, or if there is a village council election that's taking place, let the chairperson be the Rangbashnong himself, or the Sardar, or the Nokma, or the headman, as may be described by the bill. So the traditional institutions and the traditional heads should not be bypassed, is what the stress was. Now, so the most important part is that within the law, within the initial bill, so this will change, of course, but in the initial bill itself, Government of India mentions in para 2A, part 2, that the district council may by law provide the number of village councils, the manner of allocation of seats in the council, the different areas and constituencies for the purpose of the village council. The district council may by law. This means it is a district council that will define which village council should or should not be there. It is a district council that will make the laws for the allocation of the seats. It is a district council that will define the different aspects of the adult suffrage who are going to contest or vote. So these are going to be given to the district council, and the district council has to make the law. What it means, sir, is tomorrow if a particular village decides that they don't want to have a village council, it is within the control of the district council. It's not that Government of India is going to prepare the list of the village councils. No, sir. So therefore, tomorrow if there's a village that says we don't want a village council election, I don't think there's going to be any kind of a situation where the district council will then say, no, you have to. Because the district council will prepare the number of village councils that have to be there. The only downside of it is that you can't get the funds then. So if any village would like to get the funds of the Finance Commission, you have to have a village council. You will have to have election. But the chairperson of that will be by default the headman, the Rangbashnong, or the Nokma. So this is the best hybrid kind of a model system where we get the funds for the village, yet keep our institutional setup and our traditional, setup as it is, ensure that our traditional rights and powers are not diluted, and ensure that the Nokma or the Rangbashnong or the Sardar are still the traditional heads and exercise the power that they have. So therefore, sir, it's very clear, but of course, as I said, these are the suggestions given by us. I am hopeful that Government of India will listen to these suggestions that have been made. We are working very hard with Government of India to push for these particular points so that we are able to move forward in this. But as I said, so this is in the process, so I would not want to go too much into detail, but I wanted to clarify these few points, sir. So with that, sir, I'll come to the part of the MLAs, as I have always kept it in the past also, sir. I try to touch upon the issues that have been raised by different MLAs and their constituencies. So, sir, I will try to touch as much as possible, but, sir, I may not be able to get into all the issues that are there. Sir, Mr. Rupert had mentioned about the Mendi College and the fact that more posts need to be created. Sir, after this, I'll be reading the budget, so I am sure that he will get the reply of the points that he had mentioned regarding the Mendi College, that we are in the process of examining and working towards creating more People's College, and that is something that will come up. And therefore, we will look into the matter of Mendi College and see how to work on it. So the Damra and Bajingdoba road construction has been slow. Some of the material components have been an issue, and we have been talking to the Forest Department and other departments to ensure that the availability of materials are there after obviously following the proper procedure. And that has led to a bit of the slowness of the work. But I can assure the Honorable Member and the House that we are very much committed to ensure that these projects are completed on time, sir. So there were concerns that were raised by Kong Amperin Lingdo regarding the street lights. So 3,000 street lights will be changed under the Smart City project of Shillong, and new lights, LED lights will be put up. At the same time, renovations will be done, and all these light connections will be connected to the integrated command center. That means that it will be a smart street light, which means that whenever it's not required, the movement, they will see the movement, and accordingly the lights will go down and save electricity and power when it's coming. So that's going to be a renovation and an innovation in that particular aspect also. So a lot of members had raised about issue about the SSA teachers, and sir, it's a fact that SSA teachers have suffered a lot. And sir, the only sad part is that we always see that there are statements being made by individuals and sometimes political leaders and sometimes members from the opposition also, saying that why are teachers' salaries not being released? Sir, I would like to clarify to everybody that there are many categories of teachers. And if you would look at the other categories like the government, non-government, ad hoc, deficit, all of them, sir, are getting their salaries on time. Maybe the ad hoc and deficit, once in a while there is a 1 month, 2 months delay, but there is no severe backlog because these are all coming from the state's fund. So therefore, we ensure that not just the government employees, but even the master roles. There was a question on master roles also, sir. Even for the master roles, so we are ensuring that they, in most cases, they should get their salary on the first week of every month. In fact, this was not the case in the past, but we have made changes. We have given additional funds from finance and planning to ensure that advance money is sent to the departments so that the salary of the master roles are released along with the other employees. So similarly for teachers in all the other categories, they are getting the salaries on time. So it will be incorrect to classify all teachers in one category. So coming to the SSA, we agree, sir, and we admit, as Honorable LO has said, that we must admit, and we do admit, there is an issue, sir, and this is an issue that has been going on for quite a long time. I'm sure that the Honorable LO will remember that during his time also, SSA teachers were without salaries for months. In fact, there is a backlog from 2016-17 where the pressure is still on us because about 5-6 months of salary was not paid then. I don't raise this issue too much because I understand that it's an ongoing issue and a problem. And the problem happens because we don't get the funds from central government at the right time. And there's a huge delay, and this is a delay not just for Meghalaya, it's for the entire country. There are many states in the country today which have not received the fund of the SSA salaries. Now, that does not mean, sir, that we are not worried about this. Yes, we are, sir. We are concerned about them. And that is why in many occasions the Education Minister has always tried to have a buffer or a backup fund, and we use those funds. Even though the center doesn't give it, we release the money from our side at many times. But so that also has its limitations. We can't keep giving from the state budget because these numbers are huge. It's about 20 to 30 crores a month. And if there's a 5-month salary due, that goes up to 100 crores. So therefore, it's not so easy for the state government to come in and at every time, give money from our side. But yes, there is a certain shortfall because of the limitation that Government of India has created of 15,000 rupees. And this has been done for the entire country. So there are some states which were availing 21,000, 25,000. Today, after the Government of India put a slab of 15,000, the other states have to pay the difference. So some states were at 21,000, 25,000. So somebody is 25,000, they have to pay the 10,000 difference. So for the Meghalaya state, it is 4,000 rupees. And as was mentioned, about 34 crores is due in that, sir. And we will, as a government, we have decided already with the Education Department that we will definitely look into it. And Education Department and the Education Minister has already informed the SSA teachers and the association, and also told in the press that before the end of this financial year, we will give some relief to the SSA teachers. So there was a question, of course, about the overall infrastructure in different schools. As you're aware, so the EMRS scheme is going on under WAPCOS. There are 13 EMRS schools. WAPCOS is a public sector undertaking. And out of that, already 6 locations. The sanction has been done, 4 locations for that. The documentation is in final stage. Then there are 22 schools from EMRS under MENITCO. That's again a public sector undertaking. And the land documentation and process and master plan layout is under process. And the land documentation is complete. And the master plan layout is in progress. So these are large projects, and therefore they do take time. But I'm happy to inform them, the House, that in most cases the projects are moving forward. And we hope that in the next financial year, we should be able to see some progress in most of the schools, EMRS schools, throughout the state. So the 200 elementary schools and the 8 secondary schools also, the tendering has been completed, work order has been issued, and we expect that in this financial year, few of them will be completed, but we are pressing on the education department and the contractors to finish the project at the earliest. There were some members who had asked about Lalpani Government LP School. So the Lalpani Government LP School was awarded under Article 275 for additional classrooms in 2018-19. And the work was completed, sir, in February 2021. So the honorable member from Siju Rongara had mentioned about the regularization of those LP teachers appointed in 1994-95, and so that matter is under consideration, and we're hopeful that we should be able to resolve that also at the earliest. Sir, the honorable member from Nongpo had mentioned about the Polytechnic in Ribhoi. Sir, there was a delay, and he's correct. There was a delay, obviously, sir, because of a lot of challenges in the last 2 years, whether it was manpower, labor, material component, and overall movement of the project. But sir, now that the COVID pandemic is over, we are hopeful that the progress will be much faster compared to how it was before. Similarly, sir, for the Gaswapara Polytechnic also, there was a shift in the location, and that led to some delay. And of course, because of the last 2 years of pandemic, we saw some delay in the entire process that was there, sir. So the road that was mentioned by honorable member from Umroi, George B. Lingdo, regarding the Shillong City to Umroi Road. So we have proposed this project under the NESEDS, which is a donor ministry program, and it's already under process. We are hopeful that the funds should be sanctioned, the project should be sanctioned very soon. So this, in fact, yeah, under NESEDS has been sanctioned, and it is at an amount of 50 crores. So this project is already on track, sir. So the focus program, honorable member from Mausangram had mentioned about the focus program, whether it will be sustainable or not. After the 5,000 rupees is exhaust. So I had in the morning also during question hour, I had explained to the honorable members that yes, of course, it could exhaust. That is the purpose of giving the funds is to actually use it for the right purpose. But at the end of the day, I also mentioned so that we have multiple programs going on. So these are just one of the interventions that are there. So we are hoping that the farmers will be able to take all the multiple interventions that are there and create a momentum for themselves and use the funds available from different schemes that are there so that they can make things sustainable for themselves. So yes, sir, if this project was taken as a standalone project, then I agree with him. It would not be sustainable. But this is only a part of the entire schemes and processes which I explained in the morning. And therefore, sir, we are hopeful that in most cases we will see that this will give a huge push to the farmers along with the other programs that are there. So therefore, it should happen, sir. In Pulbari constituency also, Mr. Mominin was mentioning about the fact that focus program is not being implemented. So the different NGOs who are partners with us have started doing work at different levels. So some are doing it faster than others. Some are having challenges because bank accounts are not being opened quickly. So it's a large program, so therefore we cannot expect every beneficiary to get it at the same time. There is a bit of delay, but we have asked the department to quickly push and ask the NGOs to move on it in a much faster manner. Also, sir, yes, sir. So that was there. So there was an issue that was raised by Mr. Panyad CM regarding the first fertilizer subsidy. And sir, this is a concern that a large number of members have raised in the past also. But as you're aware, sir, that in 2014, the state government had, under departmental sanctioning committee, had decided to discontinue the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides with a noble purpose of ensuring that we move towards organic products. But of course, sir, as we always talk about this, and a word that is very much used in today's policy making, that there needs to be a just transition, and we are hoping that we can create some kind of system where we are able to support them, because the farmers are taking a bit of time to shift from the chemical fertilizers to organic biofertilizers, and that process is expensive for them. The productivity is sometimes not as high as chemical products, chemical fertilizers. And obviously, in the whole process, because the subsidy is not there anymore, the middlemen and the suppliers normally, rake up the price. So these challenges are there. The Honorable Agriculture Minister and the department have been asked to find out what the solution is to ensure that we are able to move towards organic farming, but at the same time, ensure that the farmers don't get affected hugely where their earnings are completely gone and they are forced to stop farming. So we need to figure out a middle path, and the department is looking into this aspect. So the honorable member from Umrai had also mentioned about the ginger program. Sir, I'll be reading out my budget speech, so I will be mentioning something about that in that. But I would also like to inform the honorable member that as of today, the ginger price reported in Ribhoy is 30 rupees to 35 rupees per kg. And while in Garo Hills, it is at about 10 rupees as of now. So he had mentioned that it's 2 to 3 rupees, so that as of now is not correct picture. It is about 30 to 35 rupees. But obviously, so the market prices go up and down. But as I said, we are concerned about it, and definitely I'll be announcing something in the budget speech, sir. So there was a lot of talk about the garbage disposal, and I was tempted to stand up and mention a few things about it, but I thought it would be inappropriate because the Honorable Minister was replying to all the questions in a proper manner. But since I am getting this opportunity, so I would like to mention that the garbage disposal issue is something that is affecting all the urban areas. And therefore, it's not possible for the government to come out with a specific program and policy and say, well, this is what's going to happen. We need to realize that we need to have a dumping ground. We need to have a place where the entire garbage will be kept. But while it's kept there, different scientific approaches can be used to ensure that they are converted into, say, fertilizers. In some cases, there is a technology now to convert it into energy blocks, especially the plastic materials that are there, the waste that is there. So we will examine all those aspects, but government has an intention to ensure that we are able to use it in a much more productive manner. And there are technologies in different locations, but they're not functioning as well as they're supposed to. But we are under the process of examining this. And by that, sir, I mean serious examination. I'll give you an example. That today in Tura, we have taken up a pilot project with a South Korean company. And this company has an innovative technology where the plastic waste and other waste, non-glass and non-metal, and obviously no mud, can be mixed with biochemicals, and a paste comes out which is then dried and actually has about 2,000 calorific value of energy in it. It can be burnt for different business purposes or home purposes. And most importantly, this is clean energy. So when you burn it, there is no CO2 emission and there's no smoke that comes out. And this is being done on a pilot basis. The system has been set up in Tura. They are going for the initial testing phase, and I'm told that it is doing well. And if we do find that this technology actually works, and we have not talked about it, sir, because we don't know whether it will work or not. And obviously, sir, I want to make it clear that government has not invested a single rupee in this. This has been done by the company. They will take the waste, they will convert into energy blocks, and they will sell the energy blocks and make up their revenue out of it. But this technology is something that we're looking at. I hope that we will be able to, it works in the long run, and I hope that we'll be able to implement this in all the other urban locations. So parking obviously has been an issue, and sir, under the smart mobility theme project, so there are going to be 4 parking lots that are being proposed for Shillong, and this will have a capacity of 1,468 numbers of vehicles will be put up, sir. So the material component has been an issue in NREGS. Many members have mentioned about this. So yes, there is about 348 crores that is there. But sir, I would like to clarify that as a department, as a government, we have made sure that the salary component, which is the wage component, should not be compromised. So we are ensuring that the wage at the grassroots level is not delayed. And therefore, out of the 1,500 crores that we have spent this year, 1,200 crores we are almost plus minus, we have the paid, but 348 is due. So we are hopeful, sir, that these 348 crores also will be cleared within this financial year. We are working very hard with Government of India to get these funds released at the earliest, and I know that this has a potential of affecting the speed of the work at the grassroots level. But let me assure the members that we will ensure that we do everything to get the money released at the earliest. So Mr. Rakam had also mentioned about a district mining office in South Garo Hills. We are examining that matter also, sir. Sir, also some members had mentioned about the muster rolls not getting the salaries on time. So let me inform that he had specifically mentioned about the MPWD buildings, and I would like to inform the House, sir, that the payments are being made regularly to them on the first week of every month. Sir, there was obviously a mention about sports, and we have already mentioned about the different sports infrastructures that are coming up throughout the state. I'll be mentioning some more in my speech, in the budget speech, sir. At the same time, sir, the honorable member had mentioned about Siju. Member had mentioned about the football or the stadium in Siju. So there's a proposal has been submitted, sir, for a 1.2 crores amount of stadium to be put up, and that is under consideration, sir. Sir, there was a concern that was raised by a large number of members, and very rightly, sir. This also happens to be the week, the Women's Week, sir. And there was a mention about the safety of women and the crime against women. So I would like to just mention that there were a few areas that we have moved, sir. And the women police stations have been set up in 11 districts of the state to deal with the cases of crime against women and children. In addition to this, special cell for women and children have also been set up in several women police stations of the state to deal with cases of sexual assault, domestic violence, violence in intimate partners relationship, missing cases, and immoral trafficking. Sir, women help desks to facilitate crime reporting by women and children will also be set up in the women police stations of the state. An expert panel has also been set up in the department comprising of the experts from various fields and departments such as law, forensic, science, social welfare, medical, and police to monitor crime against women, children, and cases registered under POCSO. So the Meghalaya Police have also launched the mobile application for the safety of women and children on the 8th of March 2022. And this application will help in a long way in providing safety to women and children in distress. So these are a few of the steps that have been taken by the government to ensure that this very important issue of women's safety is also taken up. So the honorable member from Meghalaya had mentioned about the fact that this government had taken a resolution on the ILP, and it is true, sir, this government has taken the step, and we are also pursuing the same with the Government of India to move forward in the ILP case also, sir. So there are some demands and some requests that come in and mention was there regarding some subdivisions and blocks. So I would be mentioning some things in my budget speech. So I'm sorry, there are so many points. It's difficult to get through, but I'm just trying to touch on as many as possible. So there were a lot of demands for PHCs and CHCs also for upgradation, and the medical department has in fact examined most of them, sir, and they will be sending a final proposal to the government. And once that happens, sir, we will take a final call on upgradation of PHCs and CHCs, our sub-centers into PHCs, sir. So there was also a mention about the home guards not receiving salaries. So it's a long note. I will refrain from going through it, but just what I'd like to mention, so that yes, there are some dues that are there, and the finance department has already sanctioned it, and we will be paying the remaining amount, whatever is there within this financial year, sir. So yes, sir, there are some amounts that are due to the home guard volunteers, sir, and we will clear it within this financial year. And again, so the master rolls, as I was mentioning, is being given on time, sir. So there were many other issues that were mentioned, sir, as I said, but if I go through all of them, it will be quite a exhaustive discussion, so I will refrain. But yes, if there's any specific clarification that members would want, I would be happy to clarify, sir. And apart from that, as I said, sir, we, as always, have taken note exhaustively of all the points that have been mentioned by the different members. So therefore, sir, I don't want to take more time of the House. We will obviously have more time also to discuss during the budget debate. So one important point was there regarding the Erica nut in the Chokpot area. And the reason I want to mention this is because, as mentioned by the Honorable MLA, that I had gone myself and seen the farming, the plantation, and he's right, sir. It is in really bad shape, sir. You won't believe the entire crown of the tree. You can imagine the entire plantation. There are lakhs of Erica nut trees, and there's nothing left except the stick. The entire crown has disappeared. So you just go into that plantation and you look for kilometers and kilometers. You will just see straight line like this. It's like a horror movie, sir. Literally, you have there's nothing left in the tree except just the stick, just the main trunk, sir. So it is a major issue. And sir, I just want to inform the member that when that happened, I had in fact personally gone and I had instructed the agriculture department that apart from helping them with different programs for this Erica nut, try to help them out in different products also. So we had distributed saplings of banana and pineapple, and encouraged them to go into other products. And so therefore, sir, I just want to assure the member that it is definitely a very important issue, and it's happening in many parts. We have asked ICAR and other research agencies to also find out what is the way to stop this in the long run in other locations, and that exercise also is on. But in the meantime, whatever possible help that we can give to the farmers, so we are giving, sir. So therefore, as I said, so this is a very long, exhaustive discussion. I don't think I'll be able to go into all the points, but I tried to cover as many points that were there, sir. And I hope that through this governor's address, the House was able to get a sense of how the work has gone in the past, not just 1 year, but in the last 4 years, And so yesterday we had, had a meeting, and today we have also distributed this in the House. It talks about the last 4 years of the MDA government, and it has given a detailed, elaborate presentation of all the programs that have been taken up. I would encourage the honorable members to go through this, because it will give you a great insight on the kind of hard work that has been put in the last 4 years, in spite of the different challenges that we have faced. So, sir, I will not take any more time. I thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to reply. And also, I would like to thank all the members for having participated and given very, very constructive and positive suggestions to this entire governor's address. With these few words, sir, I would like to resume my seat. Thank you, sir.
May I know the mind of the mover as to whether he will withdraw his amendments to the motion?
Few clarifications, sir.
Yeah.
So I thank the Honorable CM for the extensive reply and in his effort to address most of the issues raised by us. So, just one clarity. When I think the Honorable CM was not present when we had given the initiation on the short duration discussion on the 6th schedule. The term unrepresented tribes and Panchayati Raj was not brought out of thin air, sir. It is in the statement of objects and reasons of the draft bill. That's why the terms were used in this House repeatedly, because it is part of the draft bill. That one clarification. So, regarding the road, sir, from Shillong to Umroi, the new alignment, considering that the government has considered my repeated pleas to ensure that there's a new route towards Shillong, considering the safety of the dam and its longevity. But then, sir, till now, the alignment, perhaps I hope, it has not been finalized, because once a road is brought, it is expected that the economic perspective should be looked into, passing through villages that will give maximum benefit to the people and the residents of the area. I appreciate the sanction given of rupees 50 crore to the new road from Shillong towards Umroi, sir. But, sir, I would request for the technical team also to kindly have a discussion with me as local representative to ensure that maximum economic benefits can be drawn from that road. And, sir, last, I would like to seek clarity from the Honorable CM. Will the state government be restoring the general consent given to CBI, sir, which normally all state governments do, sir? Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, it's usual convention is before the mover of the amendment motion, the members who participate also seek certain clarification based on the whatever submission is made during the debate, knowing fully well that it is a debate. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Leader of the House, the CM, has distorted my submission. So I would like to just make it abundantly clear, pertaining to the perception on the transparent recruitment system by various recruiting agencies, not by MPSC alone, because I have not said that somebody has approached me, but somebody has told me that this is happening. And they have even told that somebody is acting like a middleman. You cannot rule out the perception, and because there was a situation when one of the person who disguised as police officer was arrested also in preceding years, who tried to dupe people during the time of recruitment of police. That is already there. So take cognizance of this concern. I am only drawing the attention of the government to draw the attention of the government to take cognizance of these concerns. Nobody has approached me to intervene or approach, but they have told me that this is what is happening and that is what is being heard. They have come and told me. So this is one. And another thing is that I want to be very clear on why there is a delay in giving the result in as far as the written exam of the police recruitment is concerned, because it also sets a new precedence for generating doubts about the real, the transparency in the process of recruitment. That should not be there in the minds of the people, the job seeker. then yes, we talk about how the government must amplify what has been done by preceding government. Now try to justify, but my point is that there are other measures which has been embarked upon by the government, not just the total quantum of fund which has been invested. The measures to ensure that the manner in which we do things, the manner in which the schemes are implemented are taken care of in a manner that there is no scope for any irregularity. So I have specifically mentioned about Meghalaya, community participation and public services, social audit act. Please take cognizance of this existing law which has been legislated by this House and which has been highly commended by all from across the country. So this is something which is a weapon for the government, to have a monitoring system on a real-time basis. And about the amplification, the Honorable Chief Minister has to take cognizance of the increased spending based on the dynamics of the overall investment system. Increased borrowing, increased burden on the succeeding years after borrowing, repayment of principals and interest. Then at the same time, the inflation, associated inflation, the increase in your wages, which was 150, 160, 170, it went on increasing because we have put in a system so that the wages component increase automatically, without people having to knock the doors of anybody. So what is the wages now? 226. Earlier it was less. What is the price of the material? Now here are many instances of requests. Even there's a request from Ursula.
Sir, can I just request, it's just a request only, sir. Since the major part of the debate has already been done, sir, if I could just request our members to just go with the clarification. What is the clarification? Rather than again going for another debate, sir, is my request. Because I've got the budget also to speak.
I'm coming to that. I want to only draw the attention of the Honorable Chief Minister to understand what I tried to say. My point is that amplify other aspects. In terms of investment and other things, we have ample time to discuss in the budget. We will do that. But please take cognizance of the perception which is doing the circulation. And it's a matter of concern for all of us. So kindly don't just ignore it. That is what I want to appeal through you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, Mahima.
Honorable Speaker, sir. I'd like to thank the Honorable Chief Minister for the attempt to reply to various of the issues that was raised in the governor's debate, because I was also one of the mover of the motion of thanks. So here I'd like to draw the attention of the Honorable Chief Minister only on 3 issues so that the Honorable Chief Minister will remember. The first issue, sir, besides many that I have mentioned, though many of them have not been addressed to, it doesn't matter to me, but sir, I have raised it, so these will be on records, and I hope the Honorable Chief Minister will go through them. The first issue which the Honorable Chief Minister clarified relating to the schools, the school in Lalpani. So, while he was speaking, I have forwarded this picture of the school to his mobile. The Honorable Chief Minister said that the work has been completed, but this is the condition of the school as it is today, sir. I would like the Honorable Chief Minister to kindly cross-check on that report that he received, that the school repair has been completed. Number 2, sir, for the last 5 years, I have been pleading for 1 or 2 rural banks to be opened in Mausaram constituency. I raised that question and it came on the first day, and the reply was, no banks have been opened in the last 5 years. I request the Honorable Chief Minister that now with these internet banking and a lot of other facilities that the banks are going to give, perhaps at least one bank could be considered within the constituency so that it will facilitate and help the people, particularly with an ATM. Then the third issue, sir, is relating to which I had raised, that there has been no medical doctor in the Dangar PHC for the last 10 months.
So this Dangar PHC is run by an NGO. Now this NGO has not been able to function well, and I have submitted my report, and there was also an inquiry conducted by the Women Empowerment Committee, and we have also found prima facie that yes, there was a lot of flaws conducted by this particular NGO, and we have also summoned the officials of the health department, and they had given the assurance that they would be taking action to remove the NGO and bring in place another NGO to run this PHC. So, sir, this doctor had resigned in the month of June last year, and till date there is no doctor in that PHC, sir. So therefore, I request the Honourable Chief Minister to kindly intervene into this and immediately place a doctor in this PHC. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, Chief Minister, please.
Sir, I'll just quickly try to go into these details. Sir, the alignment of the Umroi Shillong Road, so this is something that of course is a technical matter. So I will not be able to really give the alignment in this thing. But of course, if there are any concerns, I was just telling the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister that I would request the Honorable Member to have a meeting with him, and you can give your suggestions there. But it will be impossible for me to give the exact alignment of what the exact route of this will be. So regarding the unrepresentative tribes, which he had clarified was in the bill. So what I was trying to say is that we all know it's there. It was there in the original bill. And that is why we have objected to it. And that's where the government stand is very clear that it should not be there. And we have communicated this. So therefore, all we're trying to say is that the aspect of that unrepresentative tribes being there was a part of the concerns which everybody raised. And the government of Meghalaya has taken a stand and informed the MHA that we are not agreeable to this word. And therefore, it looks like they are trying to say that we are still agreeing to it, or we have not given our objection to this, is what I was trying to say, that we have objected to it and we have asked the MHA that this word should not be part of it. So regarding the CBI issue that was mentioned, so there are many states in the country today. It's not just Meghalaya. If it's just Meghalaya doing it, sir, I can understand. But many states in this in the country are doing this, and it's a normal procedure and practice. Some states do it, some don't do it. So it's nothing kind of out of the blue that Meghalaya suddenly come up with this. This is something that is a practice. Some states do, some don't. Close to about 9 to 10 states in the country today are not allowing the agency to come in without the consent of the state government. So this has been done in many states, sir. Regarding the recruitment that the Honorable LO had mentioned, sir, the process is going on right now. Physical test is over. For some of the posts, written exam is over. And so results, as you said correctly, results are not out yet. The reason is because the process does take some time. But let me assure him and the people that full transparency and all procedures and processes will be followed to ensure that the candidates who should, most deserving candidates, should get the job of the police different posts that are there. So there is a process delay, but it will be completed at the earliest, sir. And regarding the mention of the Meghalaya Community Participation and Public Service Social Audit Act 2017, sir, as of now, earlier there were 14 departments that were part of this audit. It has been increased now from 14 to 21. So that in itself is an indication that we want this audit to be done across, and this government is, again, as I said, amplifying what was done earlier. So from 14 departments today, we have 21 departments. And more importantly, sir, an independent agency for conduct of social audit has been set up. And Meghalaya Society for Social Audit and Transparency, it's called, MSAT. So this is another indication of how the government is taking forward the initiatives and strengthening the overall system so that there is transparency and full accountability, as the Honorable LO has mentioned in his speech, sir. So regarding the repair that the Honorable Member from Mawsanggram was mentioning, sir, it's not a repair, sir. The old building may be in a dilapidated condition. The proposal that, or the amount that was released that time was for an additional classroom. So an additional classroom worth about 10 lakhs under the Tribal Affairs Ministry of Article 275, there was an additional classroom that was given. It was not for the repair of the old school building, sir. So that additional classroom has been completed, sir. So regarding the banks, as you're aware, sir, the banks are agencies that also need banking and they need business. So from the government side, sir, we can always propose to them, we can always push them, but ultimately the bank will have to be given that liberty to decide which areas or which locations is feasible for them, sir. But our efforts are on continuously, and though we are not able to open up brick and mortar banks in all locations, that's why because banks, as I said, are independent agencies, they have their own business, they have to make their own calculations. So in order to ensure that people still at the end get facilities, we have gone for a massive program of business correspondence. Of course, it's not a substitute for the brick and mortar banks, but at least to some extent, it gives some relief to the grassroots citizens. But yes, sir, our efforts will be on, and we will try our best to convince the banks that they should open up more bank branches in not just his constituency, but throughout the state, sir. And regarding, what was the last point? Huh?
Doctor.
Oh, yeah. So, doctor point, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact update with me right now, but I have noted the point down. It's a serious matter. I also agree, it should not be like this at all. And if there is any issue with the NGOs that are running it, then necessary action will be taken. I can assure you, this is something that I myself will take it up personally. So this is, I don't have the exact update with me, but I will ensure that we rectify this at the earliest. Thank you, sir.
Now, may I know the mind of the mover as to whether you will withdraw his amendments to the motion of thanks?
Yes, sir. We will withdraw it, sir.
Now, let me put a question before the House. The question is that the mover has leave of the House to withdraw his amendment. Those who are for the motion say aye. Those who are against say no. The ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is carried and the amendments to the motion of thanks to the Governor's address has been withdrawn with the leave of the House. Now, let me put the question before the House. The question is that the members of the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly in this session are deeply grateful to the Governor for the address which he has been pleased to deliver to this August House on the 4th of March 2022. Those who are in favor say aye. Those who are against say no. The ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is carried and the motion of thanks to the Governor's address is adopted.